Oh, man. Come on. No, no, no.
They say the dice don't lie. They say gambling is just a game of chance. But what they never tell you is this. The most dangerous thing about gambling isn't losing money. It's losing yourself. Piece by piece, lie by lie, until one day you look in the mirror and don't recognize the man staring back. It often begins with a laugh but ends with silence. For every win that feels like salvation, there's a loss that drags you deeper than hell. And for me, the man who once believed he could outsmart luck got to learn that the house always wins. This is my story. Tunde was a good man. Not perfect, just good in the honest, everyday way. He lived in Mushin, Lagos, in a cramped one-bedroom flat with peeling paint and windows that rattled whenever a danfo passed by. He woke every morning before sunrise, drank his Lipton tea with 2 cubes of sugar, kissed his wife Ronke, and promised their 6-year-old daughter, Tomiwa, that he'd buy her a pink bicycle when business picks up. He worked at a roadside mechanic workshop near Ojuwoye Market. The smell of engine oil and sweat hung in the air, and his hands were permanently black from grease. But Tunde didn't complain. It was honest work. He was saving. He had a plan. If things went well, he'd open his own workshop in 2 years. He used to say, "Ronke, one day my name go day that big signboard. Tunde Motors. We fix, you smile." And Ronke would laugh, her eyes shining with belief. But dreams have enemies, and sometimes they wear the mask of opportunity. It was a Saturday evening. The air smelled of suya and rain. Tunde had closed early to watch football with his friends at a small bar opposite the betting shop. Arsenal versus Chelsea. "Guy, you 2-day fear," his friend Kunle said, slapping him on the shoulder. "Just try small bet na. Even N2000 fit turn, N10,000 if your team win." Tunde laughed. "A beg, I no get that kind luck." But Kunle pushed his phone toward him. "Just one slip, one. Make the match sweet small." Tunde hesitated, then shrugged. "Okay, just this once." He placed N2000 Arsenal won 3-1. By nightfall, his N2000 had turned into N12,000. When the alert came through, something electric sparked in his chest. The sound of that notification, ding, felt like music. Like a secret door to freedom had opened. That night, lying beside Ronke, he couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling fan spinning slowly, thinking, if N2000 can turn to N12,000, what if I try N10,000 next time? The following weekend he went back, then again, and again. Soon, N2000 bets became N10,000, then N20,000, then everything he could spare. The workshop started feeling like a distraction. Customers noticed he wasn't focused. He'd rush jobs, skip lunch, and sneak off to check scores on his phone. When he won, he smiled like a man blessed. When he lost, he muttered to himself, "Next one go click, I dey close." At home, Ronke started noticing changes. He became irritable, distracted, and quiet during dinner. "Tunde, what's wrong? You no talk again?" she asked one night. "Nothing," he said, staring at his plate. "Just tired. Work wahala." But she could tell. His eyes had changed. He wasn't tired. He was consumed. Then came the lies. He borrowed from friends, N50,000 here, M100,000 there. Sometimes he told them it was for new tools. Other times he said his mother was sick. And when the debts piled up, He began pawning things. His wristwatch, his Bluetooth speaker, even Ronke's gold earrings, saying he'd keep them safe. Ronke confronted him one night, her voice trembling. "Tunde, where are my earrings? And why did landlord come asking for rent again?" He sighed, angry. "Ronke, I beg. I tell you say I go handle am. Why you dey behave like you no trust me?" "I used to," she whispered. "I used to." Then came the night. The rain was merciless, hammering the roof like fists from heaven. Tunde sat inside the betting shop, soaked, jittery, eyes glued to the big TV screen. This time it wasn't N2000 or N10,000. It was 100,000. Their rent money. He'd told himself this was it. The final bet. If it clicked, he'd pay back the rent, the debts, and quit for good. The match was tight. His team led 2-1 in the 85th minute. He could already see it. Ronke smiling. Tomiwa riding that pink bicycle. His life finally turning around. Then came the penalty. A whistle. A red card. The opposing team scored. 2-2. Bet lost. Tunde stared at the screen, heart pounding. He felt heat rising to his face. Then a deep, hollow cold. His mind screamed, "No! This can't be real." He laughed, a broken, shaky laugh, and whispered, "Just one goal. Just one." But the match was over. When he stepped outside, the rain had stopped, but he was still drenched, not from water, but from regret. He got home late that night. The house was silent. Too silent. The TV was gone. The cupboard was open. The bedsheet was missing. On the table was a folded piece of paper. "Tunde, I can't do this anymore. I have tried. I begged you to stop, but you wouldn't listen. I need to protect our daughter. When you find yourself again, you'll find us. Ronke." He sat there for hours, staring at the note. The silence screamed louder than any words could. He looked around the small room, the same one they'd built their dreams in, now empty. He saw Tomiwa's drawing still taped to the wall, a stick figure family, holding hands under the words, "Daddy is my hero." And for the first time in years, Tunde cried, not the quiet tears of frustration, the kind that tear out of your chest and leave you gasping. He whispered to no one, "What have I done?" The next days were a blur. He stopped going to work. He sat at home, staring at his phone, hoping for a message from Ronke. None came. He thought about ending it, just disappearing into the lagoon, letting the pain drown. But something inside him, maybe Tomiwa's face, stopped him. So he went to church one Sunday, unshaven, broken, eyes red. When the pastor asked if anyone needed prayers, Tunde stood up. He didn't even care that people stared. "I lost everything," he said quietly, "because I was chasing something that never loved me back." After the service, an older man approached him. He said he ran a small recovery group for people with gambling problems. At first, Tunde wanted to refuse. But then he remembered the note. "When you find yourself again." Maybe this was where he'd start looking. It wasn't easy. Addiction doesn't leave when you tell it to. It lingers. It whispers. He attended meetings twice a week, listening to stories that sounded too much like his own. People who lost jobs, families, homes. He learned to face the truth without excuses. He went back to his workshop. Started with small jobs again. Sometimes customers mocked him for his debts. But he endured it. He saved slowly, N1000 by M1000. He sent Ronke messages, short, honest ones. "I'm sorry. I'm getting help. Tell Tomiwa I love her." Months passed. Then one Sunday afternoon, at a friend's Thanksgiving service, he saw them. Ronke, standing at the back with Tomiwa in her arms. He froze. Tomiwa saw him first. "Daddy!" she screamed, running toward him. Tunde knelt, catching her in his arms, tears flooding his face. Ronke watched quietly. Then she walked closer, eyes cautious but soft. He looked up at her and said, voice trembling, "I'm not perfect yet, but I'm not the same man." She nodded slowly. "We'll see." And that was enough. It's been 2 years. Tunde still works at the same workshop, but now he mentors younger mechanics. Sometimes after work he stands outside the betting shop, the same one that nearly destroyed him. He watches men rush in with hopeful faces and come out with broken ones. Once a young man approached him, phone in hand, grinning. "Bros, a beg. Which odds sure for today?" Tunde smiled sadly. "My guy, the only sure thing for this life is the work you do with your hands." The boy laughed and walked away. Tunde sighed, whispered a prayer for him, and turned toward home. As he walked, he felt the evening breeze on his face. For the first time in years, it felt like freedom, not luck, was on his side. Hope is a beautiful thing, but when you build it on chance, it becomes poison. Because the dark side of addiction isn't just losing money. It's watching the people who love you fade into the distance, while you keep saying, "Just one more try,"